This is my attempt at a Mount & Blade Warband Nord-only world conquest, a challenge where I can only use the troops, weapons, armour, lords and women of the Nords, fighting my way through the map in my very own buttered up conquest with sails of war. War Sails, in this vanilla playthrough of one of the greatest games ever made.
As with all of my videos, I will be pronouncing names differently each time I say them, just warning you now.
Before we begin, a huge thank you to all the supporters on YouTube and Twitch, more about how you can support for as little as £1 a month at the end. Let's begin. I'm a default character enjoyer, but if there is a randomise button, I'll hit that a few times to spice things up a bit. Now we're ready to play as Nordson, son of the Nord Sons. We catch a ship from an unspecified place and arrive in the Nord capital city, Sargoth. But oh no, what's this? We're attacked by a bandit, oh no. He's got a shield, which seems weird, but no matter. I shoot him in the leg until his adventuring days are over. A merchant runs over and tells me he needs my help. Bandit attacks are getting worse, and his brother has been taken. He asks me to gather a small party and track the bandits back to their camp and retrieve his brother for him. I tell him yes, I will absolutely help, but first let's check out the arena. There's no tournament today, but you can still practice. I've not played Warband since 2018 on the PS4, so this is absolutely more for me than it is for Nordson. But it turns out I'm a bit of a pro, as I win along with 250 dinars. On the 23rd of March 1257, with my stacks of cash, I start going around the villages recruiting the first lads to fight for me. Villagers are represented by a village elder, and the higher the relationship you have with him, the more men will potentially volunteer. The equation is half your relationship plus 6 equals the maximum number of volunteers. The minimum is always 0, so with 0 relation it is possible to recruit 0 to 6. With 100 relation, it would be possible to recruit 0 to 56. Half of 100 equals 50, plus 6 equals 56. There's also a 10% chance of higher tier troops volunteering, going up a tier every 10 levels of relation. This is a totally optional mechanic and not necessarily required, but the longer you stick to it, the more the benefits pay off. You gain relation by taking quests from the Elder, and it's usually some errand that will help the local populace. The issue is, to get these quests, you literally have to find and ride to the Elder. Sometimes they're visible and close by, other times they're out of sight and hidden. We'll be doing a lot of these quests throughout this run. It's also worth noting here that the Kingdom of the Nords is the only faction in Warband to have a 6th tier unit, the Nord Huskell. I honestly have no idea why this is the case. Every other faction has troops that go to tier 5. Nords don't have any cavalry troops, so you might think this is a way of balancing the kingdom's power, but the Kingdom of Rhodoks don't have a cavalry tree or a tier 6 unit, so this can't be the reason. We get to Fanada and 3 men offer to join us. Riding to the Elder, we ask for a quest. They ask us to get 5 heads of cattle. This is hands down the worst quest in the entire franchise, as you have to go to another village, buy cattle, which costs around 200 dinars each, and you can only buy up to 5 at a time. So sometimes it will take 2 or more trips. Then, as they aren't an inventory item, you literally have to herd them back yourself. Going to the left herds them to the right, going to the right herds them to the left. With no points into spotting, the skill that determines how far you can see, this quest always ends up in losing sight of the cattle and wasting your stupid money on this idiot quest. I say no to the sad old man and continued recruiting. The merchant said I need at least 5 men, but I'm an overachiever, so I came back to him with 27. He says there's a band of robbers and I should force them to reveal the location of their hideout. It's a 27 versus 4, but it's me that deals with all 4 of them. Before anyone points it out, yes, I will be keeping my starter horse. I am aware that it is not Nord appropriate, as they have no cavalry troops. I have an entire spreadsheet of what is and isn't allowed, including all of the Bannerlord faction specific equipment. Join the Discord to view these and have another pet picture and meme source, link in the description. The hideout is near Ambeam, and so ambush the looters, saving the brother, who thanks us. Returning to the merchant, he rewards us and asks for one final favour. I've never quite understood this part, but apparently the captain of the city guard is corrupt and has hired thieves or something to steal from the townsfolk, and our merchant friend wants to start an uprising and basically wants me to lead his friends into battle against the city guard and take justice into our own hands. We fight in the streets and win. My relationship with Sargoth improves, not too sure what relationship with cities mean, and the merchant gives us 200 dinars. That's the main quest over now, so our fate is in our own hands. There are a few things we need before we can establish ourselves as a king, as right now we are a nobody. We're going to need money, we're going to need a larger party size, and we're going to need companions. Money is fine, that will come with fighting and selling loot. Renown will be gained each fight too, and that will slowly increase our party size, as well as leveling our charisma and leadership skill. Companions or heroes we will slowly find in taverns as we travel across the entire map. There are 16 heroes to choose from, and they each like and dislike other heroes, so we're going to have to choose carefully, or they'll fight amongst themselves and leave. We can split them into 4 groups, 2 groups of 5 and 2 groups of 3. For a maximum possible combination of 8 companions, you can choose one of either group of 5 and one of either group of 3. I'll explain. The individuals in Group A dislike Group B, so cannot coexist, but are happy together and with those in Group C and D. This is the same for Group B too. The individuals in Group C dislike those in Group D, but are happy together and with those in Group A or B, and the same goes for Group D. So you can see a safe combination could be A plus C, A plus D, B plus C, or B plus D, without any quarrels. Now the hard part is finding them. Most of these will require payment before they join, and they will all require weapon and armor upgrades, so money will be the focus for now. There is no better foe for early game loot as the Sea Raiders. With a party of 41, I find a Vaegirs village farmer being attacked by 16 of them, so jump in to help. Sea Raiders are surprisingly well armed and most hold hard-hitting throwing weapons and have shields. We lose 2 men, but are otherwise victorious, with 15 of our troops ready for leveling up. We win against another group of 19 and now must sell our loot as our inventory is full. We have 38 troops but have spaces for 32 more, so let's recruit. We go to Odosan and get the current maximum of 6 recruits. Go to the Elder and ask for a quest. It's the bloody cattle quest again, but this time I give it a go. 7 heads of cattle, so it'll take 2 trips. Accepting quests also refresh the recruit availability, and I score another 3 here. Cattle are expensive and so are wages. I only have 300 dinars, so went to the arena in Vaegirs. But after felling 11 opponents, I got knocked out, coming out winning a measly 25 dinars. Luckily there's a tournament at tier and I win, including some well-placed bets that earn me 3,328 dinars. I buy the first 5 cattle for 750 and awkwardly herd them to Odosan. You can see how clunky this is. Add in nightfall and getting separated just slightly enough that you lose vision and you have to do the walk of shame back to the village to buy another round. I make it, buy the remaining 2, bringing the total cost for this quest to 1,098 dinars, and successfully complete the quest. I now have 8 relation with Odosan, so now the volunteers range from 0 to 10. Only 2 want to currently, but that's okay. Going back to the Elder, he has yet another quest. Train the peasants. It takes 3 days as our trainer skill is low, but now we have 18 relation. With a full party of 72, we start the cycle again. We fight a 72 versus 20 Sea Raiders, take the loot and level up 25 troops, fight and win our second tournament, and are invited to join the feast. I introduce myself to all the lords there and fall in love with the first woman I meet. I dedicate my win at the tournament to her, which she appreciates. She wants to see me again. We also find our first companions, Ferentis in Vaegirs and Bunduck in Riversheg. We will need to gear them up and level them properly before they become actually useful. We repeat this cycle of fighting for XP, getting loot, selling loot in cities, looking for companions while in cities, visiting our lady friend Catelli whenever we can, competing in tournaments, village quests for recruiting until, on the 18th of April 1257, I accept vassalage to King Ragnar of the Nords. I decided this on a whim, as with 79 mid to high tier soldiers, we've now outgrown small bands of Sea Raiders and are now ready for larger foes, but are not set up for declaring war on a kingdom alone. We will piggyback off an already established kingdom, keep our Nord-only status and hopefully take some land along with us. As a welcome present, King Ragnar gives us a fief, the poor village of Ruvar. And while on another cattle herding quest, we get our first weekly raid report since becoming a vassal. Positive income. We're paid rents from Ruvar and pay our troops wages and still come out with plus 145 dinars. We complete the cattle herding quest for Odosan, win our 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th tournament, get eliminated from 1, find another companion Ymira, visit the woman, then, with 13,471 dinars in the bank, King Ragnar declares war on Swadia. We have 86 troops and are ready for battle. I venture forth and quickly find a battle already in progress, so jump in to help my brethren. It's an 848 versus 116, including the Swadian Butterlord himself, King Harlus. Swadia are a cavalry specialist faction, and although we have big shields, they may become a menace. This battle was a landslide victory. We freed a Nord Huskarl and took him into our ranks. The first top-tier Nord troop we have came from freeing a prisoner. We even had a chance to take King Harlus prisoner. I free him instead though, not too sure why. I think I was trying to gain some sort of good karma so that RNGesus is nice to me. With that out of the way, it's time to start the battle for Praven. There are 13 Nord Lords present here, and it's lovely to see so many banners being represented. It's a 1,451 versus 442. After scaling the ladders, we raze it to the ground, fighting all the way through to the throne room. We lost 1 man, and 2 of ours were wounded, including Ferentis. With a bloodlust, we break away from our host and go on the hunt. We find Count Rafarch with 44 men, so march up to fight with our 85. The bloodlust was satiated as we came away victorious, suffering no losses. Then we fight Count Meltor with 62 men under his wing, another victory, although this time with 3 of ours killed and 1 wounded. We visit the Lady Catelli, who is sure to welcome us home as a war hero, but she tells me that we can no longer see each other, as she has accepted a proposal by Jarl Dirigan. With a broken heart, I focus on the war, and I see an opportunity. I'm feeling brave, so start building a siege tower at Ribelet Castle. It's an excellent first property for us as it's near Nord villages. As no one has any levels in engineering, this will take exactly 90 hours of in-game time. In Warband, you can't choose how you'd like to assault. It forces you to either build a siege tower or ladders. Building ladders takes a fraction of the time and is absolutely favoured, but you simply cannot choose yourself. It's an 88 versus 211. I almost get killed, so hide under the siege tower for a bit, but we still take the castle. 26 of ours died, another 22 were wounded, but we did rescue Jarl Turagor, who has been imprisoned there. After a day or so of contemplating, on June 21st, 1257, the good King Ragnar decides to reward us with it. So now we are the proud owner of an actual castle. The plan is now to fill it with troops, so when we need to replenish, we don't need to bounce around several villages, we can just come here and take a heap. We've kept on with the villager quests, and at our village of Ruvar, with 20 relation, they skip over the tier 1 recruits and offer us 10 tier 2 troops, the Nord footmen. And we pick up our 4th companion, Deshavi. I've stockpiled most of my troops at Ribelet Castle, holding back only my Huskels and veterans, and I'm focusing on recruiting low-tier volunteers and stockpiling them in my castle when my party limit is reached, then repeating. We had recently declared war on the Vaegirs, and while speed travelling to a village, I accidentally bump into one with 157 men trying to raid it. I only had 2 frames to react, but now I have to fight. I have 66 men out of a maximum of 90, and 40 of these are recruits. Thankfully, it's in the village itself. Village battles include the peasants themselves, so I have a few extra men, but there are only militia, so they won't count for much. Another benefit to us is that all cavalry units spawn dismounted. I keep archers at the back and position the infantry in front and hope for the best. We last a few waves and take out 83, but we couldn't overcome their number and experience. I lost all my Huskals and became prisoner on June 30th, 1257. While a prisoner still, an elderly woman approaches me and tells me that my ex, the Lady Catelli, the one who is now engaged to another, wants to see me. When I'm freed, I go to her and there's no mention of her new husband. In fact, I tell her a poem and ask her about our future. She seems delighted, but says her father would never agree, but I tell her that I'll try and change his mind. I go to him and ask what it would take to marry his daughter, reminding him that a person's worth, woman or man, cannot and should not be measured in monetary terms. Value is not quantifiable based on productivity, appearance, or any other metric. Every person has intrinsic value simply by being human. He says no, 6,120 is the exact amount, including VAT. We got married a few days later on the 13th of July, 1257. Like most weddings, we went over the budget and now the treasury is at an all-time low of 82 dinars. Thankfully, my properties are making money which I was able to spend on gambling like a responsible husband. Back with a full party, still no Huskals, I scout out my next target. The Nords and Vaegirs had made peace, so I must prey on the kingdom of Swadia. I like the look of Calradia Castle, so start building a siege tower there. After a while, several Swadian lords gather up and chase me down. I get scared, so break the siege and run. I come back after a while and try again, but this time I ran out of food and 2 troops deserted. I was about to complete the siege tower build, so I just clenched and continued, hoping that there wouldn't be any more. Luckily, mere seconds later, it's ready, and I charge forward. It's an 88 versus 218, but I am confident. I am Nord Nordson, son of the Nord Sons, with an army of Nord Sons. We scale the walls and take the castle. 20 of us died, with a further 29 being wounded. Jarl Farn was imprisoned there, and he was very appreciative that we freed him. We went down to 68 troops, but thankfully their prison was full of Nord troops for us to break free. We replenished our party to its maximum of 92, and still had to leave behind 16 good troops. King Ragnar granted me this castle too, but before advancing further, I do a few laps of recruiting to bolster the defending garrison for more locations I can replenish my troops, but also to deter any enemy lords thinking they can take my castle from me. On these laps, I find more companions, Clethi, Beheshta, and Jeremus. When we were imprisoned earlier, we also lost Emira. I was able to find and welcome her back to the party during this time too.
We are still missing Bunduk though. By the way, which way do you have the map? North points here, but I always put Praven at the top. Anyway, the war with Swadia goes well. King Ragnar's Nords have taken many strongholds including Praven, Suno and Dirim, as well as several castles. The Swadians have only 7 properties left, and I want more for myself. The party member with the highest engineering skill is 0. We've seen a siege tower takes 90 hours, and when I organise ladders for our siege of Uxul, we see ladders take only 9 hours. We have 21 Huskarls now, and are fighting 330. We lose 28, but now occupy a town. King Ragnar has given me 2 castles already, so I'm starting to fear that he may start giving the fiefs I conquer to other lords, which, if you've never played Warband, or in fact Bannerlord, is expected. All the time I don't own it, Uxul's garrison is 0. I want to wait nearby to defend it until King Ragnar makes a decision, so I decide to raid the nearest Swadian village. It's infested with bandits, so I save the village, then raid it. While raiding, I get intercepted by Count Tradain. This isn't my village, so the local militia are fighting against us. 94 versus 209. I've been speccing all the companions to be archers, so I place them at a vantage point and help them rain arrows on our foe. This battle was perhaps saved by the fact that, as it was a village battle, the enemy's cavalry spawned in dismounted again, as we completely decimated them, with minimal losses on our side. When we emerge, King Ragnar gives us Uxul to keep for ourselves. I dumped all but 16 troops there temporarily while I go recruiting to fill its garrison. We got 8 tier 3 Nord footmen at Ruvar and 23 recruits from Oddison. The village quests really are worth it in my view. Our finances are looking good too. After paying wages, we still earn 5,000 dinars and currently have 18,000. It is September 1257. The Nords and Swadians are now at peace, but the war with the Vaegirs is still in motion, and they have just taken Dirim from us. I want this for myself, so set up a siege tower, but get intercepted by an army of 128 men, and another with 133. We successfully repelled their attacks with minimal casualties, but as we returned to building the siege tower, the war with Vaegirs ended and we were forced to leave. The Nords are now at peace with all other kingdoms, so there are no more opportunities for taking land or training troops on significantly sized opposition. This is, however, a good opportunity to focus on filling my garrisons with as many troops as possible while completing village quests, so off I go to do the rounds again. I brought thick banded armour for myself for 12,000 dinars. The prosperity of Uxul went from average to rich. I trained 20 veterans against 51 sea raiders, got to 43 relation with Oddison, making the possible recruitment range between 0 and 27, so naturally I got 0, and started building a school in my village of Ruvar. A school increases the relation by +1 every month, costs 9,000 dinars and will take 93 days to complete, so it's definitely a long game plan. Checking the map, still can't decide which way up is. Swadia are 6 castles and towns away from defeat, and the Khuzait look to be doing well after their victory with the Vaegirs at Dirim. By the time I've collected 467 men and stockpiled them in Uxul, on the 31st of October, the Vaegirs declare war. I fill my party with my best troops, including 32 Huskarls, and go hunting. I see my allies at Karau mid-siege, so I go to lend a hand. By the time I get there, it's a 749 versus 197, but I still want to illustrate to King Ragnar that I remain fully on board the Nord Express, committed to working collaboratively, circling back and touching base with laser focus while aligning myself 110% with the vision, values and sustainability of the Nord Empire, able to pivot and adapt with outside-the-box thinking, so that he might grant me more land. We win, obviously, and try a hand at taking a town ourselves. I set up ladders at Raverdin, which had 360 troops inside, as well as 5 lords recovering from recent defeats. When it was time to fight, they sallied out with 80 men. They underestimated me, as all were taken out with only 3 of mine being wounded. With 80 men less to deal with, it's back to the ladders. The fight took more of a toll on my party than I expected, with 21 being killed and 35 being wounded, but we took the town and now await King Ragnar's decision as to who owns it. When that day came, it was not me. This gives me an opportunity to push back and renounce my oath, but this would mean going solo now, and I don't feel I am ready, so I accept his decision. I press on and attack the city of Riversheg, and for some reason a band of 28 sea raiders intercept me in my siege camp, but my 100 men fend them off with 0 losses. Not sure why they did that. After taking the city, we got given it, so King Ragnar is back in my good books, so I shall continue to springboard off him for now. In the December, we take Kuden Castle, Beluga Castle, Slek Castle, and Jarib Castle, where we take the Vague King Yeriglek prisoner, and all of these were given away to other lords. We then took Yaruma Castle and Radegir Castle, which left one final castle, Dramag Castle. We take it and seemingly single-handedly win the war with the Vaegirs on December 24th, 1257, ready for Santa later that night. Unfortunately, out of all of those 7 castles, King Ragnar only grants us one of them, Yaruma Castle. Defeating the Vaegirs before starting my own kingdom would definitely be advantageous, but I'm starting to think my career under King Ragnar's Nords is at its limit. Peace only lasted a matter of days, as on the 20th of December, the Swadians are back for war. They had retaken Dirim from the Khergit Khanate, and this is now my next target. 109 versus 296, and we claim our prize, losing only 5 men. King Ragnar again denies us our victory, stating that I already hold significant estates in this realm, and instead are given 900 dinars to cover expenses of the campaign. Unacceptable. On the 8th of January, 1258, the day of the uprising, I renounce my oath and break off from this false Nord kingdom and start one of my own. We arrived here with sails of war, so we shall be known as the War Sails. Not sponsored by TaleWorlds or the DLC War Sails featuring the Nords. The opinions and beliefs expressed herein are of Bim94 himself and do not necessarily represent the opinions and beliefs of any other entity or organisation. Looking at our estates, we still own Uxal, Dirim, Rivershake, Yaruma Castle, Kelredin Castle and Ribelit Castle, the ones Ragnar gave to us. We are currently on our own and are an easy target. We simply cannot be everywhere at once defending our multiple properties. Hopefully the extended garrisons I've been working on are enough to deter any would-be invaders. I did however lose Dirim 2 days into the war. There was no garrison. I was waiting on King Ragnar to give her to me before filling it with troops. If he didn't give it to me, the men would be donated to the new owner, and I couldn't spare any troops from my party, so I could remain at full strength to be ready for the war ahead. After they took Dirim, they offer peace. But I'm just getting started. I took Beluga Castle again, but this time I decide who gets to keep it. I'm a solo kingdom still, so go to my capital, Uxal, and see several lords who already wish to join my cause. None of them are Nords though, which is the rule of this video. Only Nord weapon and armor, I have a Nord wife, and I am only recruiting Nord lords. If I talk to and deny these lords, they will filter out into the other kingdoms and I'll have to fight them eventually. A little warband tactic here is to not talk to them, that way they're effectively off the map and will be no hassle for you in the future. I started sieging Suno, but didn't realise Beluga Castle was under attack. We lost that too. 1 week into the war and we're already 2 properties down. We press on though and take Suno, losing 19, then take Praven, losing another 7. Our shields are winning this war now. With more towns, the treasury is growing. We make 37,965 profit in 1 week's income report, and the Nords ask for peace a second time. I reject them again. While speed travelling, we ran into 2 lords that engaged us in combat. Thankfully, it was in a village. 176 versus 230. We had a vantage point and overcame our adversaries, but both lords managed to escape after combat. We move on and take Chalbeck Castle, losing 25 men. Then, while in a siege camp of Hurus Castle, Ragnar asked for peace again. On January the 25th, 1258, we hit our first 100,000 dinars. Ragnar asks for peace 2 more times, and then we finally recruit our first Nord vassal, Lord Turagor. When I checked the map, he came with Karau and Jelbegi Castle. Also, the Nords lost Dirim again. This town has changed hands every time I look at the map, it seems. Next on our war agenda is Tyr. It's heavily guarded, but we're well seasoned now. We only have 23 Huskarls currently, but we do have a party size of over 120 now. It's an epic battle and we overwhelm them at the wall. Sometimes with towns there are extra stages to the fight, so into the streets we go and we beat them there too. In the Lord's Hall, however, I get a blade to the face and get knocked unconscious. Even though we took out 394 of the defenders, this effectively means that we lost the siege and must start again. On a whim, I decide to talk to the commander first, and I'm so glad I did because they laid down their arms and I accept their surrender. Tyr is now ours. Inside the town, we meet and recruit our 8th and final companion, Elaine. We are still yet to find Bunduk though. They've been missing since our defeat last year on June 30th, 1257, 218 days ago. The war is going splendidly. I reject Ragnar's peace offers a further 2 times and finally meet him in the field in a 117 versus 264, and I get the pleasure of taking him out myself with an arrow to the face. We take Kurin Castle next and then set up a camp outside Sargo. They sally out with 80 men and we slaughter them all with only 7 of ours being wounded. On the wall we fight our way through and came to a stalemate on some steps. I find a vantage point myself to pick off unsuspecting Nords, but it appears our strength wavers thin. I'm not sure how it happened, but my men are lost and I go down too. We took out 359, but all of our men were either killed, wounded or routed, losing 40 plus Huskarls and becoming a prisoner on February 19th, 1258. When we're released, I see I have Clethy, Beheshta and Elaine still with me, but I have to find the others again. I've lost all my reputation as 13 forest bandits try to rob me, but I get probably the longest shot with my bow I've ever got. I lost all my experienced warriors, so when I get to Uxal and refill my party, all I have are 102 Nord footmen, tier 2 soldiers, and trained Nord footmen, tier 3 soldiers. We have a bit of experience to get before we will be back at full strength. We get a message that Tyr is under attack, and when we arrive, the battle is already underway. We slip through the lines and join the defense in a 134 versus 223. I absolutely love siege defenses. I think they're brilliant. You just don't see them too often, and when they come by, you savor it. We are victorious, losing 13 men, and are able to upgrade almost all of our troops from this one encounter alone. Looking at the map, the Serenid Sultanate have started moving in, invading Dirim, Ravedin, Kudan, as well as Drumug Castle. I spoke to Jarl Harold, my wife's father, while outside Slek Castle, hoping he would be willing to join my kingdom, but he's loyal to Ragnar, so I start setting up a siege camp. I've lost my engineer companion since becoming a prisoner earlier this year, so it's back to building full-time. Thankfully it's only ladders here. I take it, losing 22 troops, and while recruiting at our village of Ruvar, 37 recruits volunteer. I started circling the map as best I could specifically to get my companions back, as I am without my surgeon, meaning we are losing far more troops per battle than necessary. We found Bunduck, Jeremus and Ferentis when, off-screen, as I am only recording the game, we get a Steam achievement for visiting every town. We got Emira in Yalen and finally Deshevi in Uxal. This is the first time this game where I've had all 8 of my companions together in the party at the same time. We've built up to 19 Huskels, so continue the conquest, starting with Nuda Castle and Varsheg, where 18 are killed and 68 are wounded. We say no to peace with the Nords again, and Jarl Ira attacks Varsheg. I catch him and ask him to join me. He says no. Then, before letting us go, still at his own siege camp outside my castle, he asks me to do him a favour. His friend is sick and needs Jeremus for a few hours. I accept this as ultimately Jarl Ira is one of the lords I want to recruit eventually, so this random extra bit of relationship gain is preferable. The quest is completed and his friend returns to full health just in time for the fight. Half my men are still wounded, so it's a 63 versus 66, but we win and Jarl Ira escapes. Not sure about his friend though. We are earning so much money now that we lose 30,000 Danars this week due to tax inefficiency. We still get 16,000 though. We say no to peace with the Nords, get no volunteers at a village with 80 relation, and say no to the Nords again. Take Alberk Castle, Jerib Castle, Ismarella Castle, get a triple long shot kill in the field, and then take the Nords' final castle, Telrog Castle. Nord War 1 lasted 89 days and the kingdom was eliminated on April the 8th, 1258. The second kingdom to fall. Waiting for me in Uxal is my wife, who probably wondered where I've been, but also Lord Garth, Lord Harold, my father-in-law, and Lord Eric, asking to be my loyal vassal. I accept them all. We have good coverage on the map, but Swadia still holds 6 remaining positions and are in our way, so on the 11th of April, 1258, I declare war on King Harlus. It took less than a week because not once was there any resistance. Vyncord Castle, Teverin Castle, Haringoth Castle, Sanuzga Castle, Jercho Castle, and finally, Dirim. I stockpile my 70 Huskels inside and go to recruit for the garrison when on the horizon I see the Swadian opposition, finally ready to meet me. I duck back inside and await their move. It's a glorious siege defense, 136 versus 387. They never made it off their siege tower and it was a fantastic last fight. On May the 4th, 1258, we celebrate Star Wars Day and the defeat of Swadia. I've been lucky that I've not had wars with multiple factions simultaneously. When a town belongs to Kingdom A and Kingdom B takes it, Kingdom A are likely to initiate war to reclaim lost lands. If Kingdom C take the same town, Kingdom A and B are likely to initiate war to reclaim lost lands. I fear that after taking Dirim, I am Lord D or even E, and world war may now be upon us. When looking to expand, it's important to not overexert yourself in one direction. Fighting on one line is better than fighting on all flanks, so my next war will be with the Rhodoks, to clean the estates in the Nordlands but also to sweep them off the map so I can focus on the western front and oppose our remaining adversaries. I declare war and march on Sargo, killing all 158 defending it. A host of Rhodok soldiers appear, including King Graveth, and it looks like we're in for another siege defense. 206 versus 491. The Rhodoks are the only other nation that does not have cavalry in its troop tree, but are renowned for their superior crossbowmen. They are hardy units, carrying a Pavis shield and a sword, and can hold themselves extremely well in a siege defense, but also in the field. There's a particular advantage crossbowmen have over archers. They duck their heads to crank the shaft and reload, making aiming for their head harder and gives them a moment of safety behind a wall. After repelling that, I get notified that Praven is under siege. The Rhodoks are putting up more of a fight in a few days than Swadia did this entire game. I make it in time, mid-battle, and join. 203 versus 337. They sieged twice, and I swatted them away both times like an annoying pop-up ad in a mobile game. Now to venture into Rhodok territory and start the real fight. Maris Castle and Yalen are next to fall, but now Uxal is under siege. When we get there, a huge force is outside, and they are not messing about. It's possibly the largest battle we've participated in. 228 versus 867. I take out as many as I can, but run out of arrows and get stuck with a few too many crossbow bolts, so must hang back. And after 300 enemies are taken out, the rest flee. It's been 11 days of war, and the guys in green ask for peace. There is no reason to accept, but I instantly lost Yalen to a party of 30 troops. When we get there, only 17 defenders protecting it, and after talking to them, they agree to surrender to me, making me the new owner of Yalen again. Pushing on, we take Etrosk Castle, where we defeat the Lord Nelag, who asks to join me. He is not of the same heritage as me, so he is not allowed in. It sounds like racism, but I swear it isn't. It is day 420 of this playthrough, so blaze it up with all the lords that want to hang out with me in my castle. All of these are from the other kingdoms. They are all here to pledge their allegiance to me, but if I deny them, they'll just join another kingdom and I'll have to face them in battle. So in order to have an easier late game, I'm keeping them here in a sort of diplomatic limbo. Not quite allies, not quite prisoners, just trapped in a purgatory of endless council meetings. The Rhodoks offer peace, then I save Yalen, 139 versus 304. I start building a siege tower at Kalmar Castle, but Yalen is under attack again. The Chevy is now engineering level 7, so the build now takes 48 hours, which is so much better than the original 90, but that's still a lot of time. So, new tactic, ladder sieges only, then clean up with the siege tower estates. I break off the siege and go to help Yalen. Lord Arik is there, but he is outnumbered, so we fight them together. Ergelen Castle, Grunwalder Castle, no to peace, Volusia, Jelkala, no to peace, Almera Castle. Then I find a friendly lord I don't recognise in the field sporting my colours, so I say hello. It's Lord Norm, originally from the Serenid Sultanate, and he's asking to join my kingdom. I must tell him no, and he instantly joins the Khergit Khanate instead. He wasn't in my kingdom. Why did he show up as red? I'm confused. Do they fight for me even if I haven't accepted them? Why wasn't he just chilling in my castle? TaleWorlds, explain! Weir Castle is next, and then I found Count Larrikin, King Graveth's marshal, leading an army on their way to besiege one of my new properties, no doubt. They scatter when they see me, but I chase Count Larrikin and take him out personally before his line even meets ours. Jamish Castle is next, and then Ibdalis Castle, where we fight Count Larrikin again and I take him out personally, again. Now, I have driven the Rhodoks out of their homeland, only clutching on with the few castles they managed to take prior to my war with them. We take Rendi Castle, defeating the 240 defending, Dramag Castle with 92, then Radigate Castle with 301, and eliminate the Rhodoks on June the 21st, 1258, on the 49th day of war. Preparing for the next conquest, I go on a recruitment drive, and while travelling to Rivershake, we got stopped by a massive patrol of 113 Sea Raiders. We had 133 low-tier units that I wanted to train, so this battle came in perfect timing. 25 Nord veterans upgraded to Huskels from that fight. I have 102 Huskels and 39 veterans. I've also stockpiled 230 Nord warriors in Dirim, ready for whenever I need to restock. On the 2nd of July 1258, I declare war with the Khergit Khanate. I am apprehensive about this foe, as 5 out of the 6 troop types are cavalry, and their mounted archers are going to scatter my shield wall and cause chaos in the field. My best tactic might be to avoid field battles and only face them in siege attack or defence, as they'll all spawn on foot. I take Talbot Castle and Raverdin easily enough, losing minimal men, then had to defend the new town against 210 and then again against 340. Yuruma Castle, Kudan, met Lord Dirigan, one of the old Nords, but he would not yield, so I fought him. Being of Nordic heritage, the majority of his troops were Nords, so I wasn't worried about facing him in open battle. Rindia Castle, then Halmar, where there were so many Nord prisoners that I saved that I completely refilled my party to its maximum. I find the Lord sneaking around my estates, so I challenge him. This is our first field battle against the Horse Lords. The best way to win a fight is from a defending position, so I line up my infantry with my companion archers behind and wait for the charge. We withstand it, and most of them get caught up in our ranks, making them easy prey for my troops and for me. In true Dothraki fashion, their armour isn't quite up to Nordic standard, so they're going down easily.
They're just very maneuverable and annoying. Nilag Castle, Ishima, and I see Tulga has 6 lords inside. If I take them all prisoner, this will remove so much hassle off the field and make the rest of this campaign easier, so I jump at the chance. We take out all 378, but only take 1 lord prisoner. Still, I've just reset the other lords' parties to 0, so it wasn't all in vain. Our crusade against the Khergit Khanate has been met with resistance, but we are certainly winning this war. On this day, the 22nd day of war, the 24th day of July 1258, the Serenid Sultanate declares war on us. A lot of my time has been spent backtracking to fend off brazen lords trying to take back the land that is now mine, and now I have to spread even thinner to manage both wars. Our newest enemy have their eyes on Halmar, and I make it just in time to help defend it. My Nord army of 206 versus their army of 823. We killed 326 before the rest fled, but it was only to regroup. The second siege of Halmar was a 171 versus 497, and we took out 273. The third siege of Halmar was a 168 versus 224, and we did not let them breach the wall, kicking off this new war exactly how I wish it to continue. Focusing on the Khergit Khanate, we take Nara, then Malayurg Castle, where we take the Sanjar Khan prisoner. I also spot here that they've taken Amarad from the Serenid Sultanate. Did I miss this? Or did the Lord defect and take the town with them? They're not at war currently, so this is maybe what's happened. Dista Castle, Asagan Castle, Tulbuk Castle, and while setting up a siege camp at Sungech Castle, Asagan is under attack. I redirect my army to go there, but get notified that a second castle is under attack, Malayurg. I fight and defeat the Asagan attackers, then continue to Malayurg. The commander there is Old Nord Turia, but he will not join me, so fight. I return to Sungech, but now Nara is under attack, so break the siege again. I'll come back later. After dealing with that, I take Uhun Castle, Anuzdak Castle, and try Sungech for a 3rd time. Success! I fill my party with the Nord prisoners and keep moving. 2 more to go. Uhun Castle is taken behind my back by the Sultanate, and only 20 men were left to defend it. Thankfully, I am able to convince them to hand it back over peacefully, so there was no need for bloodshed, or even worse, building a siege tower again. Lord Iria joins the Kingdom of the War Sails, but where was Gondor when the Westfold fell? Fighting Lord Iria, but I arrive in time to help. Funny. 3 lords in this fight and all of us are Nords. Gondor wasn't interested in talking about politics, so remains our enemy. We take Samara Castle and then Amarad, wiping the Khergit Khanate off the map. The faction is not eliminated until all the lords have left, so there's still a chance that they may spring back and reclaim territory, but now my focus is on the war with the Serenid Sultanate, who have already taken the cursed Sungech Castle. I check my capital city to see if any Nord lords have come to declare their allegiance, but still none. 15 are missing, and I have only 5 on my roster. Back to the war. Now I see that someone must have retaken Sungech Castle for me. Looking at the war logs, I see that it was Lord Garth. Thanks, fella. We then lost Samara Castle to the old Nord Gerald. Again, I arrived to find 17 defenders, so they bend the knee and surrender it back to me. Lord Gerald refuses though. Durin, Barduk, Sharwa, Baria are taken, and finally, after 9 days, the Khergit Khanate are eliminated. 58 days of war, the 2nd of July to the 28th of August 1258. Shariz, where we refilled our party and had to leave behind 96 Nord troops. I wish I could take them and leave them in the garrison. Well done Bannerlord for having that as a feature. Karaf Castle, Tarama Castle, Lost Karaf Castle, Jemayed Castle, Takaba, Karaf Castle, again, and finally Beluga Castle on the 6th of September 1258. The wars are over and Calradia stands as one, but victory brings its own burden, morale. With no more battles to fight, purpose fades. 3 of my soldiers, once fierce in war, now drift away in search of meaning. I pay 1 more tax bill of 51,130 dinars and hang up my longbow. Thanks lads and 1 female for following along this journey. Again, another huge shout out to all the channel members and Twitch subs for supporting the channel. You can become a member for as little as £1 a month by following the link in the description. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.